We then need to look at a foreign exchange options contract. And once again, I'm first going to go through the rules, and then we will look at the application of the rules through an example. So first, please, you must study this. If the rand is expected to depreciate, you should have a call option. And if the rand is expected to appreciate, we should go for a put option. Now, please note, a call option gives the holder the right, but not the obligation, to buy foreign currency at a fixed date in the future at an agreed upon or a strike price. Whereas on the other hand, a put option gives the holder the right, but not the obligation, to sell foreign currency at a fixed date in the future at an agreed upon price or the strike price at that date in the future. Now, please note, you saw when I read through the descriptions above, the holder is given the right, but not the obligation, meaning that an options contract gives us greater flexibility than an FEC or a futures contract. You'll remember when we looked at FECs and futures contracts, I said to you both are binding. So even if the underlying transaction falls through and you don't buy a machine from overseas, or you don't end up buying inventory from overseas, even if that underlying transaction falls through, you still need to honor the FEC or the futures contract. On the other hand, with an options contract, the holder can choose whether they would like to exercise their right or not. So they've got the right, but not the obligation. However, because you have the benefit of this extra flexibility, you can decide whether you want to exercise the option or not. You are going to pay for the benefit of that flexibility. So you will see this right comes at a cost, and the cost is referred to as a premium. And the premium must be paid regardless of whether the holder exercises their right or not. So if you enter into an options contract, you have the choice as to whether you want to exercise that option or not. So you will only exercise the option if it's in your favor and you are going to make a gain. If you are going to make a loss, you would not exercise the option. However, regardless of whether you exercise the option or not, you still have to pay this premium. Then please note, options are either traded over the counter or on the currency derivatives market. So obviously the benefit of something being traded over the counter is it can be customized and you can get exactly what you require. Whereas on the other hand, if it's on a formalized exchange, we have a standard contract size. Once again, the standard contract size is exactly the same as a futures contract of 1,000 units of foreign currency. So obviously the disadvantage of the currency derivatives market is because the contracts are a standard size, you won't necessarily get exactly what you need. Whereas if it's over the counter, you can customize it and get exactly what you need. However, if it's over the counter, because it can be customized to your exact requirements, it is going to be slightly more expensive. So if you look at the example below, you will see this is the same example that we looked at with a futures contract. However, instead of trying to hedge the currency risk using a futures contract, we are now just going to hedge that risk using an options contract. But the underlying transaction is exactly the same. So once again, we still have a South African company that wants to buy goods worth $71,500 from an American supplier on the 1st of June 20x4, and are going to pay 30 days later. And they want to hedge against the US dollar strengthening against the rand. So once again, they are worried that the rand is going to depreciate. We have the following rates apply in the local currency market. So on the 1st of June 20x4, so that's on the date when they buy the inventory, we are given both the bank's selling and buying rates. And then 30 days later, when they actually make payments, We are also given the bank's selling and buying rate. Now, once again, we are dealing with a South African company, and they are going to need to buy US dollars from the bank, which means we are going to use the bank's selling rate in our calculations. The bank is going to be selling US dollars to the South African company. We are going to ignore the bank's buying rate. Then I want you to assume that a foreign exchange option contract exists for August 20X4 with the following strike or exercise rates. And this is on the currency derivatives market. So please note above, I said to you that options can either be traded over the counter or on the derivatives market. And if it's on the derivatives market, we have a standard contract size of 1,000 units. So please note, we are not looking at an option that is traded over the counter. In this example, we are looking at an option that is traded on the currency derivatives market, meaning that we have a standard contract size of 1,000 US dollars. Then I give you the information for a call option and also the information for a put option. And we are then told that the premium for the August call option is 0.64 cents and the premium on the put option is 0.4 cents. And you can assume that the spot rate in the currency market is 14 Rand and 3 cents on the strike or exercise date. Now, once again, we are going to look at this as two separate transactions. We have the inventory that's being purchased, which is the underlying transaction. And we have the option contract. So two separate transactions, meaning we are going to perform two separate calculations. So first, if we look at the underlying transaction or the inventory that is being purchased, please note that this calculation is exactly the same as the example that we looked at with the futures contract. On transaction date, when you buy the inventory, you recognize the inventory at spot on transaction date. Then 30 days later, when you pay for the inventory, all we're doing is we debit the creditor with the same amount as above so that we get rid of the creditor. We credit bank with the spot rate on payment date. And the difference between the two is a foreign exchange loss of 39,173 Rand. So I don't want to go into this in too much detail. We have already discussed this when we looked at the futures contract. So if you're struggling with this, please go back to the discussion with the futures contract. The underlying transaction in this example is exactly the same. The only thing that changes is instead of trying to hedge the currency risk using a futures contract, we are now trying to hedge the risk using an options contract. So this is where the difference is going to come in. Now, what we need to do first is decide whether we are going to go for a call option or a put option. So if you go back to the rule that I provided you with on the previous page, if we think the Rand is going to depreciate, we go for a call option. If we think it's going to appreciate, we go for a put option. And we know in this example, the company is concerned that the Rand is going to depreciate, meaning we need to go for the call option. And the call option gives them the right, but not the obligation, to buy foreign currency at a fixed date in the future at an agreed strike price. So let's include that in our solution. Because they think the US dollar is going to strengthen against the Rand, or the Rand is going to weaken or depreciate, they need to go for the call option. What does the call option give me? It gives them the right, but not the obligation, to buy US dollars on the strike date at a price of 13 Rand 90. So where am I getting this information from over here? We were given the different strike or exercise rights depending on whether it's a call or a put option. So we said because the Rand is expected to depreciate, we are looking at a call option. So you can ignore all of the information relating to a put option. So what the call option does is it gives the holder of that option the right, but not the obligation, to buy currency at this price. So that is what I have included in my solution. They have the right to buy foreign currency or buy US dollars on the strike date at a price of 13 Rand 90. Go back to the rule. For a call option, it gives them the right but not the obligation to buy foreign currency at the agreed or the strike price in the future. We then need to calculate the number of contracts, and because these options are traded on the currency derivatives market, we know we have a standard contract size of $1,000. So in order to calculate the number of contracts, we take the US dollar amount, we divide by 1,000, meaning once again we need 72 contracts. So remember, the disadvantage, because it's traded on a formalized exchange, is we have standard contract sizes and it doesn't meet my exact requirements. If you go just below, if this option was traded over the counter, then there is no fixed contract size and the company would be able to purchase an option that meets their exact requirements. So over here, this ends up giving me a value of 72,000 US dollars. If it was traded over the counter, we would be able to get options for a value of $71,500, exactly what we need. So the disadvantage of it being traded on a formalized exchange is we have standard contract sizes. Then, the whole point of an option is the holder is given the right but not the obligation. So we said there's greater flexibility. The holder does not have to exercise the option. They are only going to exercise the option if it's in their favor. If it's not in their favor, they are not going to exercise the option. So what we need to do in step 3 of our calculation is determine whether they are going to exercise this option or not. Now go back to the information given in the question. We said the call option gives them the right to buy at a rate of 13 Rand 90. We are then told that on that exercise date or that strike date, the spot rate in the currency market is 14 Rand and 3 cents. So that means if they buy foreign currency at 13 Rand 90, directly after they've purchased it, they will be able to sell it at a rate of 14 Rand and 3 cents. So now you have to determine whether the company is going to exercise the option or not. And they will only exercise the option if they are going to make a gain. Will they make a gain? Yes, because they are going to sell at a price higher than what they are buying. So because they will make a gain on this contract, they will exercise their option. If they are going to make a loss, they would not exercise their option. So you can see the discussion. The strike price is 13 Rand 90. So that gives them the right to buy US dollars at 13 Rand 90. The spot rate in the currency market on that date is 14 Rand and 3 cents. So that means they can sell the US dollars at 14 Rand and 3 cents. So because they are in the money, they would exercise the option and they would buy at 13 Rand 90 and then sell at 14 Rand and 3 cents. So guys, the terminology in the money just means they are going to make a gain on this contract. So because they are in the money, they are going to exercise the contract. Then lastly, we just need to determine what the financial impact of this is. Now, please note we said The benefit of an options contract is you don't have to exercise the contract if it's not in your favor. However, because of that additional flexibility, you are going to pay a premium on the options contract. So that additional flexibility, which gives you the right to choose what you want to do, comes at a cost. And that premium is paid regardless of whether the option is exercised or not. So what is the premium in this question? The premium on the call option is 64 cents. So we are looking at a call option in this question. So you can ignore the premium on the put option. We are not going to use that. So we've got a premium of 64 cents. So how do we perform that calculation? We have 72 contracts. Each contract has a standard size of 1,000 US dollars, and the premium is 64 cents. So that premium needs to be paid regardless of whether the company exercises this option or not. However, in step 3 above, we said because the company is going to be in the money, they are going to exercise this option. They are going to buy foreign currency at 13 Rand 90 and then sell it at 14 Rand and 3 cents. So what is the gain that they are going to make on this call option? It's a gain of 13 cents per contract multiplied by 72 contracts multiplied by the standard contract size of 1,000 US dollars. We can then wrap this up and calculate the net cost of the inventory. What is the cash outflow if we ignore the options contract? We credit bank with 1,057,692. Then we enter into the options contract, and that contract has a cost or a premium of 46,080 Rand. So that is obviously going to increase the cash outflow for the company. But we make a gain on this option, which then decreases the cash outflow. So that is the net cost for the company. So please note, the company is actually worse off by entering into this options contract. By entering into the options contract, the net cost is higher than what it would have been if they had not entered into the options contract. And that's because of this premium which had to be paid.